Spread your wings. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river. Blessing off a flow like a river.
Welcome back, Coaching Life fam. So in today's episode, we are talking about VYbz Kartel versus classism and how ghetto youths normally have a hard time growing up and going into high society. So we have Calvin online and we're going to talk about all this and more. So Calvin, welcome back.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right, what's up? Say how you sound, so thanks for having me. Like, say hi to the audience.
Hi everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
You're here. Okay. So what's going on? How do you feel about this whole VYbz Kartel case?
This VYbz Kartel case to me is a power. I mean, VYbz Kartel too influential. He have a lot to say in society people because I don't think there's a really middle class in Jamaica. I think it does have society people and people from the ghetto people, and the country's making 55% of ghetto people. And I believe that VYbz Kartel, whenever, not just as a DJ and as an artist, but whenever you start to have a certain power or start to make certain amount of money, I think the best thing to do is to get away from the garrison. You know what I mean? That's how they could get to pin things on him because, you know, he was still going on the corner, still having friend and still having in the garrison doing stuff. Not saying that you're going to neglect your friend, but you know what I mean? If I could use other entertainers as example, look at the Shaggy, look at the Sean Paul, look at the Movado, look at the Alkaline.
They move out of the country and build them audience abroad.
Yeah, because when you start to do everything, you know, you start to sing violent music, people are dead. When government cannot solve the crime and police don't catch enough bad man, they will blame it on music. Even though bad man singers, they sing from 19 or long. They're going to look at somebody. You see, the thing with politics, it's really somewhat a politics at times. So what they normally do, they always look somebody to blame whenever they can't solve
it. I think in this case, they're blaming VYbz Kartel for what is going on in society.
Yes, because Peter Bunting rightfully said that Jamaica have three problems. VYbz Kartel, Doodles Coke, and scamming. And I mean, and I know...
Here. I want to ask you a question based on what you just said. All right. Do you think that it was Kartel being too rich or Kartel being too powerful that they had to take him down?
I think it's a little bit of both. You know what I mean? Because
why you think
that? All right, remember now, so Kartel when start a tax office start buying up a lot of lands all over Jamaica, started doing business or start opening up businesses and all of that. You know, people reflect on society, people is gonna say, yo, this look a boy, dirty football from the garrison. Who is he now? From own company to start coming with condom line, start coming with all these
really?
You know what I mean? So, you know, society people started looking into it and say, no, sir, he's too much. He's not just an entertainer anymore. He's also a businessman. And he's saying too much because I could remember one time Kartel was actually saying things about the broadcasting commissioner, start saying a lot of stuff about other people and start, you know, he was actually becoming a leader in an era where he was actually a mentor. You know?
The man was more powerful than the Prime Minister himself.
So that was one of the things that was causing a problem. So society said, you know what? We have to get rid of this man. And by then, you know, 2011 that was, people is dying like rapidly, just the same. I don't see an adjustment with our crime system. And, you know, when I zoom in on VYbz Kartel case, I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure that he's not guilty. But on my perspective and my views, it's not the gospel. When I look at and see everything that's surrounded, first and foremost, VYbz Kartel case was the first time they were doing this network thing where they digital tapping and conversation. They were doing it like the CIA and like how the FBI do their cases abroad. So it was a trial and error. So they did not want to come up as a failure. So they would have to nail VYbz Kartel case in a sense.
Whereabouts after the road still, you know? You have to do road still.
That's what that's what the loyal fans hope. And Mr. God always intervene. If you do good, good follow. If you do bad, it follow. So The truth is hidden.
Exactly.
But what I can remember from VYbz Kartel is that his peak volume and many things. Not going to say he's just 100% positive, but he have done a lot because he have create jobs, create employment. He also get other people in the business so they could feed their families and things like those. So, you know what I mean? As me say, you're going to have people who like him and who hate him. Pardon?
There's good and bad in everyone, right?
Exactly.
Because most people might look and say, you know what, Cartel being this man we talk about killing other man and stuff like that, they would normally judge him wrong. But I look at Cartel like a youth that grew up in the garrison, experienced some difficult times, right? So now him being an entertainer, having that platform to talk about the issues that he went through and he overcame. It's not always positive because life is not always positive. It's real. It's the real and unfiltered truth. So Cartel now talking about, you know, him see a man, you know, and him kill a man or whatever. That is animalistic mentality of growing up in the ghetto.
Exactly.
But the part that I love Cartel for even more is that yes, he's a ghetto youth, but he can rub elbows with those in high society. He can talk about issues like the Illuminati or mental slavery or financial oppression. He can talk about things like that, as opposed to these other artists where all them can sing about a girl and, you know, suck off this and suck off that. Cartel is very versatile. So that's why I respect Cartel.
Yeah, you know.
A question I want to ask you, Calvin.
Okay.
I want to ask you this question. You expressing to me before that you grew up in the garrison and such, and being in a very professional environment like you are right now. How do you find the motivation to continue on that path to success as opposed to reverting back to the lifestyle that you were taught growing up?
You know, that's a good question. In the garrison where I'm from, I look around and I always tell myself from day one that it's only two places I actually see these people going. You know, the young men, I'm talking men in particular. Now, it's either jail, they have to hide from the police because they are not doing a legitimate job, or they get involved there in the community, you know, more tongue and more meat, and then the crime start playing. And I tell myself that no, I want to have a family. So because I actually want a family, then I have to work towards it. And how am I going to maintain my family if I'm in jail or if I'm dead? So I realized the environment, because my environment have a lot to do with me. Educational theories left we spoke about it. Social environment, you know, that a child practice what is in his environment, first-hand experience.
Yeah.
But I told myself that listen, I want to do good, so I don't have to end up on the bad road. And I'd get a little motivation. It was not only self-reflection or self-evaluation. So I strongly recommend that, you know, how you can support a person, they should get that support. And many youth that you see go the wrong way, and when I say the wrong way, I'm talking violence and doing stuff that they're not supposed to do. Sometimes it's because they didn't get any support. A lot of single parents in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So I really get the support because I came from a family who, you know, we have a couple of professionals in my family, and I look at them and I could make the assessment. Some person don't get the chance to analyze the bad and the good. I get the chance to say, all right, I have an aunt who's a teacher. You know, I have a cousin who's a teacher. They're living in their own.
Yeah, so that gave you that extra motivation that would be needed for you to get out of your current situation. I think
because
that's amazing.
It tempted me in my community, you know. You know, I mean, I'm from the garrison. I'm tempted. I see people doing illegal stuff. You know, it's hard to educate poor graduate and rich criminals. You know what I mean, at times. And I was tempted a lot, but I always tell myself that, listen, I saw my family do it. I can do it too. So I get a little, my motivation really came from my family, knowing that I am professional in my family. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely believe that a lot of times you would see a ghetto youth, a ghetto girl, you know, having dreams of working in Wall Street, but because our background was not as squeaky clean, or his background is not as squeaky clean as whatever, then oftentimes people would stereotype them and not look at them for more than their current situation. Did you find that difficult when you were trying to go on your path to success?
Well, yes, because even the way I speak, sometimes I'm at a basilic stage. So social environment have a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? When you go into certain field and the expectation is high, where the bars are high, you now start to face where you're from, start to creep in on you on a personal level. People start to look at you because you're from that place, and now you have to compete with people who is pram. So it will pose a problem. You know what I mean? Because we are saying that mental slavery is not on us, but it is, because we're still having class, as in you have lower class, upper class. So you have first preference for those who, you know, coming from that area and all of that. But it is somewhat thing that they hide, you know, but it is evident, you know what I mean? So it's going to pose a problem, especially when, you know, you didn't get a certain upbringing and then you are trying to fight the way out. Not saying that you don't have people from the ghetto.
I think that's the hardest thing, man. I think that right now, how many people are at the stage that we're at right now is basically like a hamster on a wheel trying to get to that lifestyle, that glory. But it's like the circumstances are against you, or the opposite. Like everything is basically constructed for you to fail. So you being a ghetto girl or a ghetto boy trying to get out of that whole poverty line and break the curse of poverty and become something, I think that society kind of tell you that, you know, yes, we'll help you, but in reality, they want to keep you on that hamster wheel, working for them, working 2-3 jobs to invest more into their communities as opposed to becoming one of them.
Exactly.
Do you find that?
Definitely. But I want to ask you a question though. Like, for example, what do you think about like people like society people? I'm just giving them that name, right? Doing a crime, for example, they're doing a crime and then you look and you see nothing happened to them, but you look and see that people without power, you know, like without power they can't afford or do certain stuff when they are in trouble. What do you think could be done to, you know, give us a better look at society? Like, you know what I mean, people in society are hard doing stuff and get away with it. What is your take on that?
I mean, when I think about this now, Calvin, if you want to be a realist, this has been happening through the beginning of time. You know, you have people who feel that because they have a little edge over you, they can do the crime and not pay for it. And I think that for us to say that we can actually make a change, yes, a little change, you know, changes has been made through decades, you know, in terms of, you know, letting these people pay for their crimes. When you look at the Harvey Weinstein case, you know, he was charged for multiple sex abuse and such. So we are making progress, but to kind of get rid of it, there will always be people in our society who's making a certain amount of money treated less harsh than the persons who are in the ghetto or black or of, you know, visible minority. So I don't think that anything really can be done about it. I just think that it does get a little bit better, but we won't totally eradicate the system.